Hello, friends. I'm here. I need you all to let me know how I sound. What is the voice to music level, please? Because I am using different headphones today, and I need to make sure that I'm not blaring the music super loud. Please advise. Ghost Peppa! Hello. I said something to you, and you had I guess you went downstairs? Because you didn't answer. Laurel, hello. Exiled Faye, why sad? Why are you sad, Exiled Faye? The Mad Lad, hello. I have made one critical error, which is I have opened Photoshop before installing the fonts that I want to install. So we're going to actually close Photoshop. How's the sound balance, guys? Do I need to be louder? Does the music need to be softer? Please advise. Please let me know. Please. Please and thanks. Ghost Pepper. Please. Sounds good to Laurel? Okay. Ghost Pepper. Everything sounds great to me. Okay, good. My browser went bonkers the moment you started talking. No! Exile Faye, no! Are you with us now? Really, all I've said so far is, hi, how's the sound balance? And Ghost Pepper's name a bunch of times, because I think he's playing a game and not listening to me. Yeah, oh, you haven't missed anything. Also, I said I opened Photoshop before downloading fonts, which we're gonna do now. So we are making a book cover. One of the first things we need to do is we need to come up with a font. I think I covered this before the last time we made a cover. Also, how is everybody? I'm so ahead of myself already. How is everyone? How's it going? I wonder which game it could possibly be. He definitely didn't spend like 6 hours streaming it yesterday. Ironically, I asked him if he was playing the game, and I guess he wandered back downstairs to play the game. So I'm assuming that answers my question. You're alive, Exiled Faye. Is everything okay? Do you need to talk about anything? My husband has not moved from the couch since yesterday afternoon. Did he sleep there? Setting up furniture, which has been a nightmare. Oh no, the Mad Lad. I hope that the instruction manual does not let you down. Half the time when we set up furniture, Ghost Pepper finds a more efficient way to do it, which I appreciate. Yeah, so we're making a book cover today, and I kind of covered this before, but one of the first things that you want to do is you want to pick a font. This is a really helpful site here, creativeindie.com, which has a list of fantasy fonts that you can use. It has examples of them here, obviously, for your book covers. Usually I go through this list and pick one from them, but I was Googling today and I found this cool little thing, which is free fantasy fonts. And I really like the look of some of them. I think we're gonna download this Quinn-G, maybe it's called. And it's free for commercial use, so let's try it. Let me throw this in downloads. I should have a downloaded fonts folder somewhere. Actually, maybe it's just in my documents. Downloaded fonts. And you actually need 2 fonts for your cover. You want one that's kind of plainy and one that's a little bit fancier for a fantasy cover. So for the second one, we're gonna grab this Prida one, which looks really nice. And installing fonts on Windows is super duper easy. I'm just gonna pop into the folder where I dropped those. Downloaded fonts. And we're going to hopefully remember what they were called. So let's just do a sort by date modified. Here we go. We're going to extract. Hell yeah. I keep all of my installed fonts in a folder because every time I have to reinstall Windows or move to a new computer, I can just grab this folder and install all of my fonts in one quick, easy, fell swoop. Then I'm going to go to the old style control panel. This is very important because the new style font area doesn't work this way. I'm going to open the old style fonts folder, and we're literally just going to copy and paste, and that will install the fonts. Let's do that, and then we do the other one. Whew, there's quite a lot of these. Let's just do that. Copy. And we come over here, and we want to paste. And there we go. No. Oh, apparently I might already have the Prida font. Interesting. Interesting. I am using a very, very old version of Photoshop. Photoshop 7, I think. We'll see when it opens. I literally just use that. I know a lot of people use Canva. I've never used Canva, but I know a lot of people who swear by it. Oh, look at this sweet boy Renji on my desktop. Browse. So I'm using Adobe Photoshop CS 5.1, a very old, slightly outdated version of Photoshop because I do not want to pay for the new version. I don't want to pay for a subscription for the new one. I know a lot of people really like Canva. You should be able to do most of the same stuff with Canva as far as I know. It just might be under different menus. I don't use Illustrator or anything like that. I'm not even using a new program. So, how are you? Miko and Cricket's old enemies are pissing me off, but otherwise I'm happy with project progress. I'm glad that you're having good progress, Laurel. I'm doing great. It's Friday. I've got a lot of plans for today, and then Saturday is gonna be lazy Saturday. I probably won't do the whole thing this weekend, but I'm kind of sort of planning to rewatch season 1 of Good Omens, so that it's all fresh in my mind for season 2. Now that it's not fresh in my mind, because I love Good Omens, I really just want to see Crowley and, oh god, I forgot the angel's name. I really just want to see David Tennant and Michael Sheen be angel and devil pals for like 6 hours. But, Sleepy Saturday, indeed. Aziraphale. It is Aziraphale. I think I said Aziraphale in my brain and I was like, no, that's wrong. I really just want to see Crowley and Aziraphale be pals, for, you know, forever, really. I'm really looking forward to season 2. Ghost Pepper said that he did not want to rewatch season 1. He's not a really big rewatcher. Ghost Pepper is the kind of person where he watches something once, and then once he's watched it once, he's had enough. He doesn't necessarily ever want to look at it again, be aware of it again. If Ghost Pepper is rewatching a thing, it's either because it's my birthday, and he's doing it as a favor to me, or he really, really likes it. So So they basically look mostly the same. Some a little bit different. And we also want to test. Okay, that wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but there we go. They're both working. So yeah, Ghost Pepper isn't a big rewatcher of things, so I'm gonna rewatch it on my own, and then we'll watch the new season together. I'm really excited. No spoilers. That's me with basically all the Star Treks. Yeah, oh yeah. The like movies that I tend to rewatch for my birthday a lot are like Stargate and Wrath of Khan. And so, and I've watched Mad Max Fury Road like 60 million times. So there are some things that I think Ghost Pepper is just like, okay, if you really want to. But if I really like something, I'll watch it like a lot. Like really, really a lot. Ronnie is like the opposite. He has to either rewatch up to current seasons if it's been more than a couple months since we've watched it, or I have to find a really good recap on YouTube. Yeah, I asked Ghost Pepper like if he wanted to rewatch it. And he was like, no, I feel like I'm good. I'm trying to find something, which is why I sound so absent-minded right now. This is the Light of Eternity cover. Let me move this slightly so that you guys are going to be able to see what is happening. As we go here. And he said he was fine. No spoilers, but I have a hope because Neil Gaiman kind of indicated that he was going to go a little bit more all in on the relationship between Crawley and Aziraphale. So I'm really hoping that, I don't know, maybe they do some dates in season 2. Maybe, I don't know, some smooches? I don't know. No spoilers, please. But my heart is set a little bit on smoochies. The only reason I didn't have to rewatch Good Omens season 1 is that I've read the book enough times. True, I'm very familiar with the book. I just want to see them again. They're such sweet boys. Movie I can watch any time of day is The Princess Bride. Nice. We still haven't watched season 1 of Good Omens because we were waiting to see if when there was going to be a season 2. So season 1 is based on the book, and season 2 goes beyond the book, just so you know, Bard. I don't know how like ongoing it's gonna be. Neil Gaiman did say that he and Terry had planned a sequel and just never wrote it. So I don't know if season 2 is gonna be it, or if there's a plan for a season 3 or whatever. But I'm really interested because I know the really interesting thing about Good Omens, for anyone who doesn't know, the book was originally written by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. And basically, when Terry Pratchett died, they were in the beginning of talking about doing this TV show. And so Neil Gaiman very much had it in his head that he was doing this for Terry. He was making this show for Terry, and he wanted this to be a show that Terry would be proud of. And he even had said on his blog and on Twitter, like, that he would be like, what would Terry think about this? And how would Terry handle this? And so I feel like there's this panic in Neil Gaiman to make this show so amazingly good that it can't be bad because he's making it for Terry. So I'm really interested to see, because season 1 nailed the hell out of the show, and nailed the hell out of the book. I'm really excited to see what he did with season 2, and how far that I'm making this for my friend who didn't get to do it carries him. Got me crying in the club at 10:30. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Bard. But yeah, no, I really feel like there's this thing when you have a passion project and you care about it so hard like, to me, I think that makes people approach things differently than something like American Gods was a disaster. Like, I watched the first season, it was a disaster. I never watched the seasons that came after. I read that there was a lot of arguments about the production because I think Neil Gaiman wasn't fully, like, in creative control over it. And it was a disaster. The Sandman was amazing. And so I feel like when Neil Gaiman has done something and they want to make it into TV, they should just go, hey, Neil, make it. Just make it. I think Ghost would be completely fine. There isn't a lot you need to know from season 1, and they don't let you know in season 2. Yeah, I mean, I think he just didn't want to rewatch it, which is fine. We're also watching Tailspin right now on Disney Plus, and I think he's just really into Tailspin. I'm so trying to be good right now, but when you watch season 2, you will know why we need season 3. And Neil said that season 3 is all planned and actually we're based on the sequel he and Terry were working on. Well, I really hope there's a season 3 then. See Rick Warden and the Percy Jackson production saga. I don't know that much about that. Hang on, let's do. I don't know much about Percy Jackson. Was it like a total epic nightmare? Was there fighting over who should do what? Hi, hello. Let me just blow my nose quickly, and then I will do those things. So did they do movie or TV for Percy Jackson? They were supposed to make the sequels, but they got canceled halfway through the second movie, so they tried to cram like 6 books into the second half of the movie. That sounds like a horrible idea. I would also have nightmares about that, yeah. I mean, again, no spoilers, but I felt what they did with the Sandman worked really well because they updated it in certain regards. There were things that happened in the comics that would not necessarily have translated the best to screen, but they did a really good job of sort of going back and reevaluating some of that stuff. And making it work better. And I feel like Neil Gaiman is the driving force behind a lot of that. If I'm ever just like half as amazing as Neil Gaiman, I'll be like super happy. So just to pull some things over onto screen, I'm gonna work and talk hopefully at the same time. They're doing a new show for Disney Plus, and he's closely involved. And has been saying really good stuff. The new series Rick is making himself is supposedly much better. All I know is there was a huge argument over the casting of Annabelle because she isn't white. Oh no. Burton even suggested changes to the producers, and they refused to change the movies. Yeah, it's really. Not to go too deeply down a rabbit hole, but something that is visual on screen has a much different set of needs than something that is written. And there are things this is living, hello. There's things that you can do on the page that don't translate well to screen, and there are things that you need to do on the screen that are maybe pointless in a novel. And I think you really need someone who understands that to be in charge of making the translation between book and show. And I think that Neil Gaiman is someone through experience who has learned how to do that. And so if you have this original creator saying, like, here's this concept that really needs to be translated from, from point A to point B, and then you have the producers saying, no, we're not going to do that. It's a bad call. So these are stock photos that I've already sort of gone through. I guess I should show you guys. I have a little bit of a concept for what I'm trying to do here. Let me see if I can find it. So I basically want to create an image that is something, it's not going to be this, but we're trying to create an image that's something like this, where it has an image on the outside as sort of the frame, and then it has an object which is relevant to the story, and then it has something else going on inside. So we're basically trying to take this cave, and then we're going to have something over top of it that's going to show another location through it, hopefully. Basically going to play around with building this, building it conceptually without buying the stock photos, so that if it doesn't work, I do have to log in though, hang on. So that if it doesn't work, I'm not spending a ton of money on wasted images. Also, the song is very annoying, so we're gonna skip it. Whoops. First, I'm gonna remember my password. Alright, and we're just gonna grab the image that I want to sort of work with here first and test it. So ignore the watermarks. It's gonna look pretty jank, and it's gonna be low quality for a little while. But basically, we're just gonna use this to test conceptually if the book will do sort of what I want it to do. And so I've basically tried to like come up with some locations from inside the book. Trying to get the most visually interesting bits in there. Okay. Rick is a good bean. This is Living, how you doing? I think the best way to describe the Percy Jackson movies in one word is horny. The main issue I remember was the actors were way too old to be playing children. That is a common issue with a young adult being translated into film. They were aiming at teenagers plus when the books were designed for kids because Vernon was a teacher, worked with kids. Yeah, I only ever saw the first movie and then kind of lost, which it was fine. It was okay. I kind of lost touch with the series after that. I didn't realize it went through, like, production hell. I think also there's this problem in the book market right now where no one really... Ooh, camera. Where no one really understands what young adult is anymore. In marketing terms, it's something that they're trying to aim at teenagers that usually has young adult protagonists, but the primary market for young adult is not teenagers, it's women in their 30s. So I don't think people really got what they wanted out of creating the young adult genre, and I don't think it's really, I don't think people really understand what they're doing with that genre at the moment. All right, first of all, we need to make this like 300 point so I can see it. Okay. Oh, that's too big. Alright, I do think, this is obviously just a very rough draft here. I do think this could be made to be readable. I also could put the title up here, potentially. This is, again, just very, very preliminary. Delta Flareon, hello, how's it going? For a second, I thought the Diz emoji was going to be part of the book cover, and I was losing my mind. Yeah, Diz is living. There's nothing wrong. I guess I put that incorrectly. There's nothing wrong with the young adult genre in itself. Like, the books being written in it are fine. It's more the marketing perspective. From the marketing side, I don't think anyone really knows how to handle young adult because marketing teams created it to be aimed towards young adults, but young adults aren't the primary readers of young adult books. And I think people don't know what to do with that. So lots of adults read young adult books. And I think when they go to make it into a movie, they don't know who to target the movie at. They don't know if it should be for teenagers. They don't know if it should be for adults. And I think that's how you get these things like, we're going to make Percy Jackson into a movie. Here's a bunch of actors who are fully adult, who are playing teenagers. And it's like, wait a minute, what's the actual content of these books? Who are we actually trying to capture to watch these? I did not mean in any way to insult the young adult genre. I know lots of people who read it, and I know lots of people who write it. I just also know that I've talked to young adult authors lately, and they're like, yeah, I'm really not sure from a marketing perspective how to handle this right now. I like that D, but it looks like an O. It does a little bit, yeah. Let's see here. Oops. We want to do Prida for this one. This might be another fully... Oops. Oops, how do I spell my own name? Yeah, fully caps might work better here. Isn't this the one that was supposed to be really... This is not the font that I expected it to be. Maybe I have two fonts with the same name. Let's save this. Because I have to close Photoshop here. Let's go into first roadblock of the day. Can I rename these? Fonts. Can I rename this? It looks like not. Can I copy it over here? Oh my god, my poor desktop. Alright. Let's do a folder for this. Try.old. Yes. 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 Nope, that's Wonderdraft. That's not what we want. Wrong program. I feel like a lot of young adult books aren't actually for people under 18. Same. But I feel like the marketing department created it for people under 18, hence the problem, right? The marketing department wants to do one thing, but the demographic is another. Something like as I write a fight scene that I feel I need to drag on as long as possible. Exiled Fade, do you want a sprint timer? Let me know. I can turn on a sprint timer for anyone who wants one. I'm reading now. One I'm reading now is listed as young adult, but there are some adult scenes in it. So, like, is it actually for people 12 to 18? I know. I've had this conversation with young adult writers where they're like, the fans want me to have sex scenes, but it's a young adult novel. What do I do? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I was a teenager when I read The Witching Hour. I just read from the adult section when I was young, so I also, like, I just feel ill-equipped to answer those questions. Alright, so is this now using the Prida that we want it to be? It's still the same, but it does not look like the font that I picked. So maybe we'll just have to pick a different font. Because it does not look like... It doesn't look like I want it to look. Huh. Disappointing, but it does not look like the preview. Oh, interesting, though. When I scroll down and look at it, that is what it looks like, but it's not... They're using a different font in... Look at this. So when I scroll down to look at the preview, it does show like this, but this is the font that I want. Where's that at? Rude. Okay. All right. Let's see if there's another option for a flowery. I wish I knew what this was written in then. What font is that? What did they actually make that with? Decorative lowercase and uppercase. It doesn't, though. It's a lie! I want something that has those kinds of flourishes, though. Okay, I have so many windows open right now. Let's see if we can amalgamate a few of them. All right. To here, I guess. Let's see if we can find a free font that has the kind of flourishes we want. I went on a rabbit hole with a particular font because it wasn't curling the S's right, and come to find out it only does it on certain programs. Interesting! Hey Conquest, what is up? I don't feel that young adult is a proper genre, it's more like a marketing term. I know, but that's the problem, is it's a marketing term, but who are they marketing to? When I was young, I just read books about cats murdering each other in the forest. Yeah, same. Take the Hunger Games, it's marketed as young adult, but it's just sci-fi adventure dystopian. Yeah, with younger protagonists. I feel like young adult was created for anything with younger protagonists. But then you get characters who are 18 years old and they're having sex because they're 18. And you're saying this is young adult. But it's adult stuff. It's young adults dealing with adult stuff. So why don't you just put it... I don't know. So this is a whole rabbit hole. I am using Photoshop. An old, super old version of Photoshop. I feel like anime seems to focus more on accuracy in terms of the story and enhancing experiences. Right? It depends on the anime. It depends on the studio. Like everything else, it really depends on who's making it and what they're paying attention to. The one I'm reading, consider a coming-of-age drama, not young adult. There are several sex scenes in it. Yeah, and that's... yeah. Your font might only do the curlies in certain apps, but it doesn't look like it did the curlies in the previews anyway. Let's see. What's this Afterglow font? Also doesn't do what I want it to do. Why are y'all like this? I need something readable but swooshy. Maybe that's not the right Afterglow? Hmm. This is really not the thing that I expected to get stuck on. How are they getting... Okay. That's just it's just a bold-faced lie. It doesn't do that. Personal use only. Like, why do they have a freaking version of it for WordPress then? Oh, I'm not spending $27 on a font. Good God. Just because characters are younger doesn't mean it should be labeled as a book made for that age of person. I agree with that. Historic materials has children protagonists, but the author himself said he wasn't writing for an age group. They were in the adult section when I read them as a kid. They got moved to young adult later when they created it as a marketing section. But I don't know anything about marketing, and that's on me. I feel books these days go on word of mouth more than anything. I wish I knew more about marketing than I clearly do. Reviews and such will tell you what genre actually is. Yeah, you've got a valid point. Everyone does. Sometimes the drama on the screen gets told in a different way. I think the Harry Potter meme. In the books, Dumbledore is all... Dumbledore is all... I think there might be a word missing there. Calm. Okay. On the screen, he runs at Harry. Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? Yeah, he was ready to eat that child. Yeah, you know, there are different needs for different things. And I think understanding that is a critical part of making the transition between... What license do we have here? Blah, 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 blah. What type of... It doesn't tell me what type of license it is. I need something I can use commercially. Website. If the young woman lives in a dystopia with elves or with aliens or with vampires. Yeah, exactly. Alright, well, we're not going to use that font either, apparently. Boy, I'm getting frustrated. Okay. Stencil I have, but I used stencil for the last thing, and I don't want to use it for every book cover. What about this one? It's free. Can I use it commercially? Free for commercial use. That's what we want to hear. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. And then I really need to be... This is not going according to plan at all. Okay. All right. One last time. Discard. Don't save. Just close. Yo. Alright. That was me not reading the prompts and just wanting the thing to do what I wanted it to do. Extracts. So we can get rid of... Where did that thing go? I had a folder. Oh my goodness. Okay. Get rid of that. Come in here and open fonts. And let's try this. That moment when you just spend like 20 minutes trying to describe how your character's pet hellhound transforms in rage mode. It happens. I feel comics are kind of the same way when you have a character just talking, for example, because you're using pictures to display emotions. If it's just casual talk, it's honestly boring, so trying to draw them still a little more interesting, talking with hands, more display of emotions. Well, and I think that goes with what Laurel was saying as well, how sometimes it might be easier to take an anime and translate it to screen because you're already partway there with the visual to begin with. Yeah, that's fine. I'm changing the entire font. Thank you. Alright, well this does kind of what I want it to do, but that looks ridiculous. So comics and movies are heavily relying on other elements to keep the reader, watcher engaged, and it's challenging. Absolutely! I like the lighting of this piece. From far away, the cave could look like the torso of a body. Yeah, and we're gonna do more with this. I just kind of want to get a very basic, can this actually look the way I want it to look? This is kind of more my speed. I don't know if that looks, I don't know if that makes sense. This is kind of more what I was going for. 350. Mostly right now we're just trying to check, can we make the fonts readable according to, can we make the fonts readable, essentially? And to give you guys some idea of then, like, why I haven't put the someone up there. So I move this sort of down just a little. This is all very rough so far. Something like that. I'm not entirely sure how I want this entirely to look yet. Something like this. I'm not quite entirely happy with that. I guess I could center this as well. I could also switch it, and I could make this the suffering. I could do... Definitely not that. And I could make this someone's... This is the first book of a series, yeah. Absolutely, yep. That's why we're playing around with this to try and make it look away. We could do it like that. We could do something like that to make it, I'm just trying to find a way to make the text look a little dynamic, a little interesting. I kind of like this. I'm kind of for a concept, I kind of like this so far, so we're gonna leave it like this, fiddle around with it a little bit more. Obviously, I'm going to put in the actual purchased stock photos so that it won't have deposit photos on the background as well. Welcome back, the Mad Lad. Off topic now, but all I said before my internet died was I think the young adult genre has become more of a kitchen sink genre. Anything that isn't explicitly inappropriate or explicitly graphic counts as young adult. There are some pretty graphic books in the young adult section though. Like that's to me, like I don't know. There's some things, I mean, frankly, I just read from the adult section when I was a kid. So there are some things in adult books that I'd be more okay with my kids reading than young adult. I think generally young adult has become a genre for anything that has a young protagonist. If your protagonist is a teenager, then it's in young adult. And people read in young adult because that's the kind of stories that they're looking for and the kind of things that they're interested in. For me, I just write a book and then I try to figure out where it fits. I don't necessarily say, I'm going to write young adult today or I'm going to write adult today. I just write what feels good and hope that there's a genre for it somewhere. Peter! Hello, hello. My protagonist is a teenager but also an asshole. Not all that uncommon in young adult. I'm okay with this so far. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break because I super need one, and we're going to come back and start playing with the next element. Honestly, I think that I almost just like this cover it is, but we're going to play around with it some more and see if we can do some interesting things to it. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Spicy McSpice Face lives, indeed. I know with a lot of young adult books, the more graphic or adult topics, like SA is more to relate to teenagers. It's designed to be relatable and to teach the younger generations of this kind of stuff, whether or not you believe it's true or how that works. Nobody is claiming it works as intended, but I think it's kind of the idea. I was thinking of this while I was AFK, and I think kind of the idea behind young adult versus adult stories is for adult stories, you're kind of expecting the protagonist to be a little bit more together, to have a little bit more understanding of who they are and sort of what they're doing. Granted, that might be an unreasonable expectation to have of adults. And I think teenagers we generally understand as to not entirely understand who they are or what their place in the world is just yet. It's that coming of age aspect. And I think the idea behind young adult stories is people who are not fully formed, fully actualized adult people dealing with adult situations versus someone who is a grown-up and experienced in the ways of the world dealing with those same situations. I think that's the main distinct difference in the writing. And yeah, I do think that maybe there is an aspect of here's how you find yourself when the world is crazy in young adult. But I do in some ways feel like that appeals to adults more than it appeals to teenagers, because teenagers don't want to be treated as teenagers. They don't necessarily want to acknowledge, that they aren't fully grown up or don't fully have, is there a sword in that picture? That they don't fully have understanding of something yet because they want to feel mature and they want to feel grown up. Whereas grown-ups, I think, can look back on their life and acknowledge, at this point in my life, I didn't fully understand things, or at this point in my life, I was still gaining understanding or gaining knowledge or whatever, which is maybe why the young adult genre appeals so much more to adults than it does to teenagers. At the end of the day, this is a lot of the reason why I tend to say, as a writer, simply write what feels good to you. Write the story that you feel makes the most sense and that you identify with the most. And then, worry about where it fits later. When you're marketing something, this is not conventional writing advice. Conventional writing advice is to find the genre you want to write in and to fit your story exactly to that genre so that when it comes time to market, you know exactly where you're putting that story and you know exactly who your target audience is. My target audience is always myself. Blaine Arcade, hello, welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. If I said your name wrong, please let me know. Angel Faye, hello, how's it going? So conventional, book marketing wisdom is know your target genre, write according to it. But my suggestion is, like, you do need a target audience. My target audience is me. The person that I am, or the person that I was as a teenager, and what kind of books I would like to read, because there's got to be someone out there who likes the same kind of books that I do. And so really, if you are, what am I doing here? If you're writing to an audience that's familiar to you, if you're writing something that you would like, somebody out there is also going to like the same thing that you would like, theoretically. That's what I'm looking for. That is not exactly what I'm trying to do. Because the watermark is still on this, this is going to be a little bit of a pain in the D. That's actually pretty good. Flutterdye, hello. Oh my goodness, I'm selecting no pixels. Flutterdye, thank you so much. 21 months. Holy shit, have I even been streaming that long? Did you somehow subscribe to me in the past? Love you, hope you're doing all right these days. Same, girl, I hope you're doing well. I heard that your boys are coming to visit. I hope that when is that happening, by the way? Is that next week? Is that, coming up soon? I hope that goes well. I hope you're able to have tons of fun with them. Flying in tomorrow! Please let me know how the trip goes. Send pictures. You know where I am. For 2 weeks. That's amazing. I hope you have tons of plans. I hope they all go well. Seriously, have I been streaming for 21 months? I can't even begin to comprehend. Thank you so much. I know we haven't gotten to talk a lot lately, so I hope things are going well. Should be interesting. Absolutely. I hope interesting in the good way. Obviously, for anyone who's coming in to the middle of the stream here and is like, why do you have watermarks all over this? It's okay. We're gonna actually buy this stock at some point. Hang on. I am making my life difficult. I should just do this. We are going to actually buy this stock. I'm just testing right now to see if I can make things do what I want them to do. Which right now, what I really want is for this image to be a lot bigger than it actually is. Alright. Don't know that this is actually widening the way I want it to. I really want that blade to be... wider. All right, well, we're just testing right now. Oops. Let me actually just like... Can fiddle with this more later. Just trying to sort of create a proof of concept here. I might choose a different... I could choose a different sword as well. But let's see. Let's see if I can get this to do what I want. This is the most complicated part. What goes into your process of deciding the background and elements you want to use? So, basically for this one, because I knew I wanted it to be an object cover, I tried to think about locations in the book, and I tried to think about an object that was specifically, relevant to the book. Without, you know, saying too much, the sword is relevant to one of the major characters. And just to try and find something that would be visually interesting. So my plan for this, I don't know if it will work. I have a favorite book. It's The Celestial Serenade, Exiled Fae. Oh my goodness. Thank you. What book would you suggest for a first-time buyer? Want to support you by buying one of your books? It's hard for me because I'm biased towards all of them. Do you like fantasy more or sci-fi more? I'm really happy that you like The Celestial Serenade, Exiled Fae. I think you're really gonna like the Arvalia. Well, I know you like the Arvalia Chronicles because you've read the first one already, but I think you're really gonna like the later books in that series as well. But that one isn't out yet, so... but it's easier for me to answer if I know whether you like sci-fi or fantasy more. Okay, this is the most complicated part because I'm not entirely sure how to make it do what I want it to do. Page not found. What if that was the image that I wanted? It probably was. But let's try this one maybe. I know this whole thing is a mess right now, but stick with me. Hopefully it'll do what I want it to do. So I basically want... What is what I'm trying to do? Actually, weirdly enough, I think what I want to do is this under here. Whoops. This is the part where I'm not entirely sure how to make it do what I want it to really do. Hang on, how did I... Oh, if I turn that on, it'll come back, okay. Whoops. So I basically want the jungle to show through the sword. Kind of. Which makes me think that the sword needs to be smaller at the top and wider at the bottom, actually. So why don't I actually get rid of these two? Because I don't know if that will... I think that's our weak link here. Do you like sci-fi or fantasy better, the Mad Lad? I'm hoping I can make the jungle just in the blade, yeah. I think I need a wider blade, though. Although maybe I can... I feel like... I feel a little embarrassed doing this in front of Delta Flareon because I feel like she must be screaming at the computer telling me what to do because she's an actual artist and actually knows how to do stuff and I'm just dicking around. So I'm wondering if what I can do is kind of... it's less about having the final say, Angel Faye, and more about knowing where the functions I need are. Knowing what I want to do and knowing how to do it are two very different things right now. Oops, that wasn't what I wanted to do at all. just imagine, just stick with me. Just imagine how cool it would look if I knew what I was doing. Because then what I want to kind of do is, just take this part and see if I can transform that part and just make the blade wider. Because I need to make the tang wider too. Okay. We're getting there. Kind of maybe almost figuring out how to do what I want to do. Kinda, maybe, sort of. Proof of concept. I'll make this look prettier later. Yeah, I am distorting the sword on purpose for the moment because this is, we're using a low quality image right now. I just want to see if I can make it do what I want it to do. I'll fix it later. I haven't really read either genre, so I would have to say fantasy. I'm open to either. I do have a sci-fi book on my endless TBR. Haven't really read either, so... Oh, sorry, I missed the first time you said it. A book I really wanted to love but couldn't get into was His Dark Materials. Oh, interesting. Can't believe I'm saying this, but you might enjoy just watching the TV show. It was... We have to watch season 3 of it yet. I would say if you're more interested in fantasy, check out Dreamers Do Lie. It's very heavily fantasy based. It's only 2 books. It's very inspired by Dante's Inferno. So if you're at all remotely interested in Dante's Inferno or a fantasyized version of it, check that out. If you don't really have a preference genre, you might enjoy The Celestial Serenade. It is a more light sci-fi, so it doesn't get super heavy into how the technology works. It's a space opera. If you like Star Wars at all, you would probably like The Celestial Serenade. It's similar in scope. It's this giant, basically, sweeping setting with a focus on character interactions. We'll give it Justice reread at some point, but just have so many other better books to read. Hey, I mean, if it wasn't your jam, it wasn't your jam. All right, and then we want to take this round 2. Basically, I want to put this sort of behind here. And then we would do... Oh, right. I have to approve of that. Basically sort of like this. And then we would... Theoretically, if we had that exactly where we wanted it. And then it would look sort of, kind of, maybe something like that is kind of the concept we're going for. Um, obviously, I would have to make it look nicer than this. What do we think? Maybe I should ditch the sword and try to do some other way of revealing the second. Although I could also just lighten this. I think I'm happy to go ahead and buy the cave background. I'm pretty happy with that. I'll do some thinking. There's Go Hype on the Celestial Serenade. Yeah, it mostly comes down to what you're interested in. If you were ever at all interested in mythology or Sailor Moon, you might like Eternity's Empire. It's very heavily inspired by Sailor Moon, and it is very heavily based on mythology. It just kind of comes down to your preferences of where you want to start. If you happen to be subscribed to Kindle Unlimited, you can read any of the book ones for free. I do get paid for that. Or you can also hop over to megancutler.net, that website that's right up beside my face here. I do have previews of all the books on there. You can see which one floats your boat. The Symphony of the Stars, Song of the Spheres, separate books, are all previous combined. So the Celestial Serenade is published in trilogies, and every 3 books I do a box set. So Symphony of the Stars is the first 3 books in the series, what's the freaking first one? The End of All Things, Across the Void, and After the Nightmare are all in Symphony of the Stars. And then Song of the Spheres is the second 3 books, which is, I'm going to remember the names of my own books, you guys. Duality, Unity, and Harmony. And at the end of this year, in December, I will release Soul of the Sun, which will be the last 3 books, which will be Smooth Jazz, Careless Electronica, and Headstrong Heavy Metal. I remembered all the names of my books. So it just comes down to whether you want 9 smaller books or 3 bigger books. There's no difference between them otherwise. So I like this. I don't know how much my sword concept is working out. I think I just need to find something that has a wider blade to begin with. This is why I didn't buy a bunch of stock photos. I also could do something that I also could do a different jungle scene as well if need be. Come on. Come on. Load the image. You can do it. I believe in you. Let's try reloading the page. It really, really doesn't want to load this thing. There it went. I don't like it though. Let's try this one. Oh, thank you for subbing to my newsletter, The Mad Lad. Yeah, I try to have previews of all the books so that you can see sort of which one floats your boat. My only advice is stick to the book 1 previews. If you start to preview any of the book 2s, you might find yourself in spoiler territory. But I try to avoid posting direct spoilers onto the It also might be easier if I build the whole sword layer separately and then put everything on. But again, I'm just sort of trying to get a proof of concept. Just me, or does that sword actually feel crooked? It's still... Okay. Right. Maybe I should also try... this one. I can't tell if this is just a dumb idea or if I'm just doing a really bad job of it. Okay, as far as proof of concept goes, that looks a little better. What do we think? Should I pursue trying to make this look good, or should I give up on it? Crooked swords have character? No, ideas are dumb, they just don't work the way we want. Thank you, Purple Heart Natalia. You're 100% right. I just don't know if I should pursue this particular idea or if I should let it die. That looks kind of cool, though. Look at that. This is kind of closer to what I wanted. Is something sort of like this. Obviously, I'd blend things together better. I could also make the sword go diagonal across the screen as well. It doesn't have to necessarily be up and down. It's just a matter of whether or not I think I can make it work. Before I buy the stock, because once I buy the stock photos, I'm committed to making it work. So I do think it looks, I think it worked better with the more zoomed out jungle as well versus what we were trying to do before with the smaller jungle picture, if that makes sense. So the other one we were playing around with was this one. I don't think that worked as well. And we can test it out again and see. Obviously, I'm going to make it look way nicer than it looks right now. We're just trying to decide which stock photos to buy. So this is what it looks like with the other jungle then. The previous one. Yeah, I think it works better. I have one more that we can try. Let's get rid of some of the layers that we don't need right now. I think we generally agree we like that one better right now. So there's one other one we can try, which has just its slightly different color scheme. Oh, this one's actually free as well. If we end up going with this one, so... This is kind of very similar to the other one, but it's different colors. So if we... I think these colors might be too similar to the cave one, though, which is why I didn't start with those. So I think we may have found the stock that works the best. Because I don't think that really works either. So I think we kind of all agree that this is the closest we've come to a good concept. The blue-green is better to contrast the background. Absolutely. I think you're 100% right. I was holding off on that sunset one because I thought it's too close to the gold in here, but then I was like, maybe I'll try it and see what it looks like with the effects. In the future, you can message me for stock photos. We have a huge library of conquests. That's super sweet of you. I do have a bunch of credits on deposit photos, so I'm not too worried about spending a little bit, because they're already purchased, right? I just want to spend my credits. I definitely think I'm going to go ahead and grab the cave background. I do have one other cave background that we didn't test that I could pop in the background there. Let me just... that we could pop in the background and test. But I do really like this one. So the other one I have is these, but it's not, again, this one doesn't have as vivid colors, so I don't think it'll work as well. So there's this one as well, but I feel like this one has much more vivid colors. Can't I just go to a cave and take a picture? Not one like these. Yeah, I think so too. I think those vivid colors. I think even if we turned off the sword, like even just looking at this, that image is just so much more eye-catching. And I can fiddle with the... Nothing is finalized right now. So I definitely think I'm going to go ahead and grab that cave picture. Because I feel like we are happy with that one. So I've got so much shit on my desktop. I can get rid of that. I can get rid of that. I can get rid of that. I can get rid of that because these are the 3 images that are in our test right now. So that won't hurt anything. And I can go to here and I can actually download this image and make it actually pretty. Give me my window. Thank you. Whoops. So what we want to do here is essentially we want to open the new one that we've just actually purchased. And now we have a nice, clean, huge version of this that we can use to replace what we've got in here. And you can see there's actually a lot more detail in the image here now as well than what we had originally. And honestly, I really like just this background. I do feel like it needs something more to it, though, so... and then you can see that versus that. I don't have it at exactly the same shape quite. So I could play with that a little bit more. But I do like that. I mean, that, in all honesty, looks pretty darn good. I used to have Adobe Stock, but in the end I canceled my subscription, and now I use Unsplash. Yeah, I have a lot of free stock... a lot of free stock photo sites that I use as well, but I do have Deposit Photos credits, so if I find something good on Deposit Photos, I'm happy to use it. Marathnon, hello! What's up other than the sky? It's Friday. It's almost the weekend. Excited. R.A. Morley, hello, hello. Hope we're having a fabulous day. We've had some rough rides figuring out fonts and images for this cover, but we're making progress. Part of me is actually just very happy with this, but I do think it needs something more. So now, again, we have a very high quality stock in the background, and we have a very low quality stock sort of in the foreground here. I wonder, too, if I were to... This is probably going to look terrible because I have sort of screwed with everything so much. I wonder if it would look better if it was diagonal. What do you think? Or we can do it. Obviously, ignore all of the stuff just ignore some of that stuff. We could also do it kind of like this. I could make it smaller too. Like, it doesn't have to be super big. Could make it more like that. Or we could do it, I could even do it more like down more, like sort of like that. Is that too centered though? I could do it more like over here so it's not ultra centered. I've been warned about making stuff too centered in book covers. Don't have the skill or patience, let alone both, to do something like this. That's why I adore my artist. Yeah, my cover artist, Molly, is amazing. But unfortunately, I can't necessarily afford to get 6 covers from her every year. I already get 4 covers from her every year, so the other 2 have to come from me. So... yeah, I don't know. What do we think? I do think what I should do for the moment maybe is crop that so that if I screw with this for a hot second, it is not necessarily... just let me save for a minute so that if I fuck around, if we fuck around a little bit with some blending shit, we could also do like a gently, since we've got such a like vivid orange glow in the background, we could do something like that to make it match. As well. And we could also, not right now because I merged the layers. So you do, I'm just wondering, right now it's not very well blended, so I'm just wondering. What to do with this to make it be more the way I want it. Angel Faye, these are not the final photos that I'm using. These are just this whole layer here. These are not the final photos. I'm not actually using high quality photos. So there's no point in being careful with what I'm doing. I'm just doing a quick test because I'm not actually using the high quality photos. In the background, the one that is in the background is actually the actual photo. So I didn't have to do much to that one, but I obviously have done more, been more careful with that one. Right now, I'm just playing around with concepts. So basically, this is the only thing that's sort of kind of finalized. I need to play with the text a little bit more too, because I'm not entirely sure that it's doing, like, I might actually do a little bit of fucking around with this as well. I don't know. to make it read a little bit more elegant. So, well, we need it to match the fonts that are being used on the, on the cover. You don't want more than 2 fonts on the cover, really. And it's much more important for this to be readable than my name. I'm just trying to figure out, if I don't do the sword thing, I feel like it still needs something. But I'm not sure what to put there. This is when I go look at... This is when I go look at the covers that Molly made, and... But her covers are so much better than mine. They don't even compare. Okay. I need to think, and I need a bathroom break, so I'm probably gonna pop AFK. I like this. I'm happy with this, but I don't feel like it's enough to be finished. I feel like it needs something more. When we did the Eternity's Empire covers, when we did the Eternity's Empire covers, we had the magic circle in the middle with the object inside of that. I could try to do something similar, although I don't know that I want to fall back on the same idea as that. Once you get the first series cover done, it's usually much easier to do the other ones, but coming up with, like, the concept for the first one is always a lot more difficult. We could also try where it has the background there. We could also just try putting the jungle in there. Maybe? Potentially. So we could do something more like that. Obviously, I would have to do it more nicely than I've done it. And have it sort of be something like that as well. Or... And I could make that bigger as well if I needed to. Or have this one in the background. If we feel like that would work better. I wonder if something like that would work better. I could recenter everything. Rather than having the object, maybe I should just have the two places with one serving as a portal to the other. Well, the sword is relevant to the story. A crystal ball isn't really relevant to the story. So I thought about using a different object, but it has to be related to the story in some way, and I think I'm gonna have the same blending issue with any other. I think if the issue is blending the objects in, I think I'm gonna have the same thing with any object. Don't hurt to get a quote if you're interested. Jubilina is a fellow streamer. After hearing the sheer amount some authors paid for covers, and it's mostly stock images, I was ecstatic with Jeff's prices, and she does everything from scratch. I mean, again, I'm kind of maxed out on my cover budget right now. I don't think Molly charges an exorbitant amount at all for custom covers, but like I said, I already pay for 4 every year. So the other 2 usually come from me. I think what I'm going to do is take a break. I kind of like this idea. Obviously, I've done a piss poor job of it for the moment. But I might play around with this concept some more and see if I can get it to do what I want. Wait, what? Conquest? I mean, I need this... To clarify for you guys, I'm not really looking to hire another cover artist to do this cover. This cover needs to be done pretty much now. So I don't really have the time. Like, this book is coming out in 3 weeks. I don't really have time for a cover artist to do a concept and a final polish and all that kind of stuff. I committed to making this cover. I appreciate that you guys are trying to help, but like, I'm not necessarily streaming this to outsource the process. I'm just streaming it to show you guys what I do to make my covers. I appreciate that you guys are giving me feedback and stuff, but I'm not really looking to hire somebody else to do it. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback on the Eternity's Empire covers, and people seem to really like them, so I'm fairly confident that I can eventually make something that is going to look nice. This is not necessarily a me out of desperation making these covers. So I appreciate that you guys are pointing me in various directions, but like, I'm making this cover. I'm streaming the making of a cover because I'm going to use this cover. Right now I'm going to take a bathroom break, and then I'll be back and I'll play around with this concept a little bit more before lunch, and see how it goes, because I think it's going pretty well. Foodle can't be in it, sadly, Conquest. Foodle's not in this series. I'll be right back. Finished reading chapter 1 at the end of all things. You don't have to be sorry because you're reading other stuff, the Mad Lad. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you're enjoying it so far. I just appreciate that you're checking out my stuff at all. I'm gonna give this one more try to play around with this new concept and see what I think of it. But I have to be honest, I'm very tempted at this point to end stream and finish this off on my own, because I really need to focus. And good night, Angel Faye. And I did not expect, while I was coming on stream, to create a cover for a bunch of people to come by and just tell me to buy one. It's a little bit of a shock to the system. So we'll see. I'm going to play around with this a little bit more because I really want to share with you guys my process. I think an important thing for you guys to understand is that when you're making something like a book cover, you have to play around with concepts. So, like, everything that I've been doing so far pretty much has been testing. Almost nothing on this cover is finalized right now. You have to go through and you have to think about your ideas and see how your ideas play out on the page and see what works and what doesn't. The concept that I had in mind isn't really working, which is fine. Like, I come into this knowing that that is a potential possibility, that something that I have an idea for won't necessarily work out. Possibly because I don't have the skill, but also possibly just because it wasn't, you know, the execution of that concept wasn't necessarily ever gonna work. Like, you guys have been looking at test concepts of an image that is unfinished and unpolished, and being like, maybe you should just hire someone to do it. So I'm confident that I can create an image that I will like the final look of. I've done it 8 times. And I gotten a lot of compliments on the covers that I created. I'm far from a professional cover artist, and I value very much the cover art and the information and the knowledge that I gained from Molly and other people that I know who do this professionally. But I also have the confidence that I can create something that will suit this series. Sorry, just a little bit of just trying to make sure that we're all sort of on the same page with what's happening on the stream. Maybe I didn't make that clear at the beginning, that I was just sort of playing around trying to find something that would work for this. But I think instead of, so the concept that I originally had was something looking on, like a background looking onto another background, some form of negative space looking onto another space. And instead of trying to add something into the image to serve as that negative space, my cover artist is Molly Phipps. Her website is We Got You Covered Book Design. Hang on. If you're interested, you have to, if you're looking to hire her for a project, you probably have to be looking at next year, because I think she's pretty well booked for the rest of this year. But if you're looking for someone to do a project with, Molly's great. She does have some pre-mades. She also does custom covers and ebook covers and paperback covers. She has done all of my Celestial Serenade covers and my Dreamers Do Lie covers. So yeah, she's really awesome. If you look at her portfolio, you can see several of my covers in there. So yeah, instead of adding something in to create the negative space for the secondary image, I'm going to try and utilize the space that's already here. So what I want to do is actually see if I can make this a little bit bigger without... Now, did I do something silly, like crop the image at some point? I did. Thanks, Angel Faye. And thanks for hanging out and trying to help me out with it. I do appreciate it. I don't want you guys to think that I don't appreciate your feedback. I just think that, I need to be able to test stuff and see what works, you know? Oops. No. Okay. At some point, I cropped this and then saved, which was silly. So let me just... Let me just fix what I unfixed. Alright. Because what I could do as well is I could move the focus... I could move the focus of it to one side as well. So now we have that versus that. Move this just a little bit more. Trying to make sure I have the most visually interesting elements in the frame. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate that. Exiled Faye, how's it going? I know you said you were writing an action scene. I'd be interested to know how it's going. Alright, and then what I want to do is I want to take... Still unpurchased photo because I'm still not sure this is what I want to use. And I'm going to put it between these two. And then I want to take... possibly... Instead of just flat out erasing it, I want to sort of take this space. Hmm. Going slow, but there are injuries. Oh no! And then I took a break to look at fonts. Fonts are a rabbit hole for sure. As you can probably tell from what we did at the beginning of stream, you can fall down an entire rabbit hole. Where is my magic wand selection tool? Like, what the hell? Select inverse, and then on here we theoretically want to just clear that. Oop. Some of these font names, though, Centaur looks nothing like a centaur. I know. Sometimes I think they're really just kind of randomly named. See, that is starting to look a little bit more the speed that I'm sort of going for. Keeping in mind that I'm still using the watermarked version of this. Whoops. I actually wonder if I did... something sort of a little bit closer to the concept we're looking for here. This is starting to get closer to the concept I'm looking for, I think. I just have to decide which jungle image to go with, I think. I guess what I could also do is just look at it from here as well. Done. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. This is the one I'm looking for. There we go. I feel like I'm close to what I want it to do. I'm just not quite... It's just not quite hitting where I want it to hit yet. It could be that what I want to do is sort of area Use a little bit more of this. I feel like this is very close to what I want. It needs blending. I need to start over sort of anyway because I need to use the actual stock photo, but I feel like this is getting very close to what I want. This in normal. What do you think, anyone who is still hanging out in chat? Are we getting closer? I think it's gonna have to be this jungle image. Also currently have that on hard light. I could change that. I feel like that's very close to what I want. Thank you. It's getting there. Like it so far? Yeah, I definitely think this is working better than the sword concept was for sure. Ooh, that looks kind of cool. Okay, so what I think we're gonna do is we're gonna commit to this jungle. We're gonna commit to this jungle being the other part. I like this jungle, but we're gonna abandon this jungle. We're gonna abandon the idea of that jungle. We're gonna go with this jungle. So I'm gonna get the actual version of that jungle. I'm gonna get the actual version of that jungle. Sometimes you got to step away with a break, come back, and might get more ideas. Yeah, definitely. No, I definitely think this idea is working better. I liked the original concept, but I just don't think the execution was going to be possible with the skill level that I have. Do I still have it open? I don't still have it open. Okay. Which jungle was it? This one. So you want to download the actual image. Chrome has changed the way it does downloads, and it's messing me up so much. Ignore that. So we want to take that, and we want to put that essentially here. So we want to get rid of this, and we want to get rid of this. And we probably want to get rid of that, and we probably want to get rid of that. Alright. And then we basically want to position this, oops, we want to position this sort of where we want the image to be. Now we can sort of adjust this without it and we want to start erasing. Okay, this is looking much closer to how I kind of want it to look. It obviously needs some blending here to be exactly what I want it to be. I'm tempted to put that back to normal because I actually think that looks pretty good. Could actually also, instead of that, I could just start over as well. Duplicate layer. I have so many copies of layers here. And just very... because I basically just have that there. I could just very gently erase out of here until it looks kind of the way I want it to look. Turn it down. Maybe the hardness? No. I want this to be less. Maybe that's not what I'm looking for. Opacity, that's what I'm looking for. I want it to erase slightly less along some of these edges. Here. I think this is starting to look a little bit more like what I want it to look like here. Get my opacity back up here. I'm gonna save in case everything in the universe goes horribly wrong. This is starting to work much better. I'm starting to be much happier with this than I was before. I think this is working a lot better than what I had before. That does add a nice extra layer of blending as well I could fiddle with. I'm wondering if I want to play with... Oh, this is gonna need some finishing, but I'm starting to really like how it looks. I think this concept is working a lot better than the last one was. For sure. I was starting to despair of this ever being finished, but I think it's starting to look really good, actually. I might need to tone this down just a teeny bit there. We might have gone a little overboard with the bright light there. Yeah, I just think I think I had the right idea and the wrong execution. I do want to make the transition here a little bit more I want to play around with this a little bit more to make sure we're getting as much of the image as I really want it to have. And then fiddle with my opacity a little bit more here. So I'm basically trying to preserve some of that little bit of rock. Thank you, the Mad Lad. Welcome back. I do think it's looking much better now. I'm much happier with this. Probably not going to 100% this right now because there's probably some finishing that I'm not entirely yet sure how to do. So I probably will have to fiddle around with this just a little bit more at some point off camera to make sure I'm getting really, really the transition that I want it to have. Kind of like that, actually. Kind of really like that. Yeah, I think this is getting really I feel like it needs something else. I'm not entirely sure what. But I feel like this is super close to being where I need it to be. We could fiddle around with giving this a glow. A slight glow effect. I could make it also slightly orangey to match sort of... Just going for some little... Just some little details to touch things up a bit. Keeping in mind that when people see it on Amazon, it's probably going to be about that size. And I think that looks pretty good. I do probably want to play around with my name a little bit more. But I feel like this is getting pretty close to what I want it to be. We did void the sword idea. The sword was just not working. So I feel like having the concept of a place looking out onto a place is working a lot better. Ooh, that's too big. I do still feel like it needs a little... I'm not sure if it's entirely blended as nicely as it... Oh, look at that. I'm not sure if it's entirely as blended as nicely as it could be. If I turn that off, is this, is this stuff coming from here? Because one other thing I could play around with is just a quick look at what this does. Makes it way too dark in most cases. I could lighten it a little bit. Lighten the whole thing. That's probably a little too bright. Oh, I feel like this is very close. I don't know what I feel like it needs. I kind of feel like it needs something, but I feel like this is very close. I'd be pleased if I were you. Well, thank you. That means a lot coming from you, Flutter, because you are much more artistically inclined than I am. And when it comes to composition, I would trust Flutterdye to put something that looked professional together more so than myself. So I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. knowing that for me, so going back to the conversation we were having earlier about when I'm hovering a cover artist versus when I am making a cover myself, knowing that it's going to be simpler when I create it is something that I accept going in. If Molly was making this cover, she probably could find a way to do the sword and the negative space and the it's all put together sort of thing. I have to accept that I need simple covers. I need something that I feel like is expressing sort of the intrigue and the sort of fantasy-esque aspect of this story. I could still try to potentially incorporate the sword, maybe a small sword down here. I don't know how much visual interest that would add to the cover at this point. I basically just want to make sure, is it interesting? If you were scrolling through Amazon and you saw this image, would you be inclined to click on it to see what this was all about? I'm worried that there's a lot of space in the center that isn't doing anything. I don't know. It's not 100% yet, but it's close. It's very close to being done, I think. I did want to play around with my name a bit. I don't know. I'm not a professional cover artist, so I actually don't know if there's, like, protocol for this. But I actually wondered what it might look like if I did this in the other script. With just the fancy, but I don't think it looks very good with the fancy. There's no fancy M for that, apparently, which is a little bleh. Whoops. Knowing what small tidbit I learned on cover art of things, logos, magazines, even movie posters, I say you're going about things the right way. Well, thank you, Delta Flareon. Again, someone with much more artistic talent than me. I appreciate that. We are probably going to wrap up stream here shortly. I just want to see if I can make these. I could potentially make that a slight bit bigger. Looking at it, I do think having... I wonder if it's weird to just have one word in that other font. But I do think this looks good as well. I think this has a good flow. Again, I worry that it needs a little something in the middle. But I am not skilled enough to put a person or clearly an object on here, so I wonder, I do wonder what else I could possibly give to it. I could also, I'm wondering what it would look like with a bevel. Wonder if it looks better with the Bo! My eyes need resting. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Exiled Faith, thank you for hanging out for so long. I appreciate it. Cover's looking spiffy. Thank you so much. You're making the words not super difficult to read. It has character. There are more ways to make the font stand out against very bright fire lighting things. I'm always here if you just want, like, sparks, bad ideas. I feel as long as it's readable, it's okay. I'm just worried about this big space in the middle. Is there something else I should be, like, adding to it? Question mark. You can always suggest something, Delta. If I don't think I can do it or don't like the idea, I just won't do it. I need advice on BG3 character creation. Ghost is probably better to help with that. I've not played BG3. I don't even own it. Add embers? I don't know how to do that, Flareon. Could you Discord me a tutorial on how I would do that? Like, yeah, if you could tell me how to do that, I would definitely try it. Playing around with settings is the best way to learn too. I learned better that way than take it from more. The class I took just helps give words. Yeah, if you want my opinion, Bo, go ahead and throw, your question in chat. I guess I can try. I'm gonna take a quick break because I actually need to get my steps in, here quickly. And then we're gonna try what Delta is suggesting. Also, Delta, do you think it looks better with the bevel or without the bevel? Anybody, do you think it looks better with bevel or without bevel? Let me know. I'm gonna pop AFK for 3 minutes. We're gonna come back. We're gonna try Delta's idea, to see what it does. And then I'm going to go eat lunch because I got a million other things I gotta do today. But I'm really happy with how this is looking so far. I'll be back. back! Should I go Warlock or Fighter? I don't know. Do you want to smash things or pew pew from afar? Do you want to get up close and personal, or do you want to stay back? If you want to be up in people's faces, go Fighter. If you want to be from afar, go Warlock. If you kind of want the best of both worlds, I guess you could do a Hexblade Warlock, if that's available. Go Pact Weapon. Go up in their face. I'm arting in the background, working on concepts myself, playing around, trying to figure stuff out. It takes so much brain power. It really does! Eventually, I believe, not at game start, similar to pen and paper. Makes sense, you gotta level up to multi-class. Yeah, Fighter Warlock could be cool, especially you go Hexblade. Flareon! What are we doing? How are we doing? The thing. Oh, I got messages. Make a layer, name it Embers. Choose a yellow color like an S shape. Randomly add speckles of various sizes to spill the fill the spots. Then on that layer you named Ember, go to the setting where you would normally change opacity, find the setting called Outer Glow, make that a bright-ass crimson red, then play with the size settings, and we'll change the intensity. Interesting. Interesting! Okay. Okay. So I basically am gonna just draw a bunch of stuff on here. Did we get an opinion on the bevel? Do we want to keep the bevel? Do we want to get rid of the bevel? Maybe we should get rid of the bevel. Maybe we should get rid of the bevel. I did think of a way to possibly include the sword as well. We'll see. We might not get to that today. I have a Fighter Warlock multi-class where you shoot the enemies, shove them in the air, and watch them fall. That sounds fucking amazing. I went Pact of the Chain with Ephema because I wanted a pseudo-dragon, so I am not the person to ask for good stats. Okay, so we're basically gonna create a new layer, I think, here? New layer, Embers. Okay. And then we want to get, like... see, can we color match this? Can we do can we get some, can we grab a color that's like from here? This bright yellow color that's already sort of in here. And then we wanna see. I know slightly tiny itty bitty little stuff. I've made too many characters. I don't know what I like anymore. Listen, if I owned Baldur's Gate 3, I would probably just spend days making characters. Flareon, should I use a brush that has soft edges or hard edges to do this? Does it matter? Soft. Oops. Did I actually draw a thing? Okay, am I on... Do I have to turn off that layer to see it? Okay. We're gonna move this layer. We're gonna move it up here. I lost my brush tool. I lost the brush tool, you guys! I haven't lost my mind. Totally. There it is. Okay. So I probably want a smaller size brush. And then I basically just want to, like, I probably don't want perfect circles. I probably want to, like, make really small little boopadoops like this. Maybe? Hey, Uncle Tobin. And then you said go into outer glow and do red. Is that, am I doing this right? Obviously, we're probably going to redo this once we actually know what we're doing. Bright ass crimson red. Yeah, okay. And then size. Oh, okay. Ah, no. Okay. And then I can turn the opacity up and down as well. Interesting. Oh, and I can change I can also change the mode of the whole... Like, I could darken it. I could multiply it. I can make them blue. Kind of like the vivid light. Now my question is if I like... Oh, it'll just automatically... So I could just basically like erase this and start over. Should probably do a smaller brush size too. I feel like I'm not doing it. I don't have a tablet that can plug into my computer, sadly. I do have brushes, though. What brushes do I got? That's, what does this do? Okay, I might have to play around with this off stream. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I definitely think it needs a little, could play around with it. I definitely think, I was thinking what I could do is I could use the sword as like a part of the text decoration. So I could put a sword here and a sword here. And then if I can find some kind of something... I also might look around and see if I can find like magic symbols. Whoops, I'm in the wrong search bar. Magic symbols on just because the idea of the embers gave me an idea of like if I can find some kind of like magic rune or magic swirl or something to put sort of in the light as well. To make it feel a little bit more fantasy. That might also be super helpful. And then I can use that like trick that you taught me with the glow to make it blend in. So I might try something like that and see if I can find anything. Unfortunately, I can tell from just an initial search that I'm going to need to play around on my stock photo sites to find what I'm looking for. So probably for now, I'm going to go grab lunch. But I do think this is coming along, for sure. See if I can do something like this. Obviously I'm not going to use this one because it is, I can't use the rock, but if I could find something like just the rune bit, and then I could blend that into the background, and see if I can get like some texture added to the middle of it, that would be super cool. I wish I could get just the runes. Yeah, I mean, I am not going to ask you to make me brushes, Delta Flareon, because I don't want to be like, hey, make me brushes. But if you make a brush and you want to throw it at me, I would be very appreciative of that, for sure. Because that's something, too, if I could get little, like, glowing runes, I could sprinkle them throughout the other covers, too, right? So it would be kind of a unifying thing. Man, I really, really wish I could just get because looking at this is exactly what I want. It's like these little runes. I'll have to see. So what would you need, Flareon? Basically just runes? I wonder if I could find like a rune pack. Because if I had something like that, because I could sprinkle them into all the various covers, and it would be really cool. And then I could have them like glowing over the candles, and then like with the embers. It's almost there. I think this is really good. I think I could get along with this cover. I just think it needs some finishing. But for now, I'm too lazy to sign my art, so I made a brush. Listen, I think that's a brilliant idea. Seriously. I am going to look at who's around for us to raid so that I can go get some food. I'm pretty happy with it. Like, this, I'm not sad about. I do think it could use some finishing touches. Perhaps you could have the sword going through a letter in the title. I was thinking about just using it as... I don't want it to potentially interfere with the text. Anything that is around or behind the text can make the text hard to read. But I could put the sword sort of underneath here and then put another sword sort of above here as, like, dividers. Thank you, Delta Flareon. I really appreciate that. I am pretty happy with it. I feel like as a book cover, I just want it to have a little something extra that screams fantasy to it. But I do think this is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna save it again. Oh, I've already saved it. It doesn't want me to save it again. Cool. Oh, I shouldn't have closed it. I should have just left it open. Hang on. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I should leave it open for you guys to look at while we wrap up stream. Boop. Pretty happy with it. Let's see who's around for a raid, and then I will go eat some food. I almost just typed raid into the Google search bar instead of Twitch, just so we all know where my brain is. Who is around? I don't see any of my usual art peeps streaming, unfortunately. I also think most people are doing games. Ghost Pepper told me he wasn't gonna stream Baldur's Gate 3 today, and he's 100% playing it. You know what? Let's just go over there. Let's just go raid Ghost Pepper. He just got back from a break. Thank you for hanging out, Flutter. I know you're super busy. I appreciate your feedback. Thank you to all the arty people who made suggestions and helped out I do appreciate it. I know it might have seemed like I was very dismissive of some things early on in the stream. I really wasn't trying to be. I was really just trying to play around with the concept until it worked the way I wanted it to work. And I'm pretty happy with what we've got going on here. I think it's a really solid base for a cover. With a few little tweaks, I think it'll be potentially really great. I mean, I could use it as it is, honestly. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think it needs a couple little extra things. Conquest, what do you think? We changed how we were working it, and I think it's doing pretty good. Now, normally we go and drop in on another writer or another artist at this point in time, but pretty much everyone that we haven't rated recently is playing games right now. So we're gonna go pop over to my husband Ghost Pepper's channel. Make sure to make your raid message something like, not playing Baldur's Gate 3 today? Raid? Here, I'll make one now. Here we go. This will be the message that I use. I'm gonna have to recopy that because I have to put in the raid for Ghost Pepper. Move the opening down a tad too close to the G. Oh, you mean the suffering goo, the suffering goo part? I could scooch that whole thing. I could probably scooch the whole thing down a tad. Now that I've made it so that it's not like... You mean basically like that? Boop. Nice. Simple fix. Yeah, we've thrown around the idea of putting some glowing runes in as well, so I think that'll be pretty cool. But I gotta eat. I gotta eat. Let's raid Ghost Pepper, GH0 Pepper. I'm gonna actually copy and paste his name because I'm just so paranoid, even though I know how to spell it. Delta, thank you so much for your help. I will touch base with you. If you don't mind, please do let me know if you mind. If you don't mind, I'll touch base with you on Discord about the potential for the glowing runes. Probably over the weekend. I might not get to it today, but I can definitely touch base with you over that if you are interested. And yeah, we're gonna go drop in on Ghost Pepper. I am going to go get some food. I will be back tonight at 8 p.m. PST on It's Woof's channel. We are gonna be playing Hades. He said that he changed his layout so that our games would be bigger. I am going to be trying to get the same achievement that I was chasing last week, so we'll see if I get it this week. And tomorrow I should be over on Ghost Pepper's channel playing Roots of Pacha, if I can tear him away from BG3 long enough for that to happen. So that's me. I will be back next week. Probably only 2 streams next week, probably Wednesday and Thursday, but keep an eye on the schedule. I'll update it on Sunday. I do apologize because streams will be a little bit spotty for the next couple weeks while I finish up edits. But once we start writing a new project in September, it's going to be a lot more smooth because I'm just going to be nonstop writing and it's just going to be really easy to stream that. So thank you all sincerely and seriously. It meant a lot to me that you stuck with me through this whole process. Blueberry Bean, hello, farewell. We'll see you again soon. Take care of yourselves, my friends.